Hello, beautiful people. Schöne, Leute. Welcome back to my channel, guys, where I'm going to be doing my review of 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 3, Episode 10, titled Treat Me Right. Now, this is my first live, and I'm doing this because I just got really annoyed with trying 4 different methods of um of taping my video for my normal 90-day recap. And I've tried 4 different methods, 4 different devices, and I'm having face problems, guys, and I had pieces of video and trying to put them together. The editing is a headache. So I'm trying this live. I'm gonna make it really quick. I don't even know what this thing is supposed to be. So forgive me if I make a lot of messes and mistakes, yeah, because this is my first time. Anyways, I'm doing this quickly because I've already done half of my day, wasted after half of my day trying to fix this thing. Okay, so let's start off with the most scripted couple who I thought were just time fillers in this episode, and then ending with the most interesting for me. So we'll start off with Tim and Jennifer. Yeah. So Tim is on the side of the road texting Jennifer to meet up with him at the park nearby because they did not spend the night together. Jennifer was really upset with him after their trip to the park. And yeah, because apparently Tim is making it seem as if he wasn't upset as well. So Jennifer did not spend the night with him. So they met up at the park, and Tim, is asking her, where they stand. Do you still want to come to the US with me? And I'm like, is that really what you're offering? Yeah, you're offering her to come to the US, or you're offering her a relationship? So, he's like, do you want to come to the US with me? Because at the end of this trip, I thought that we would have been, planning a wedding. But no, I don't know what's happening. And Jennifer says, I don't know either. I'm not impressed. Yeah. You're not the man I thought you were. And Tim said, if I was to propose to you at this very moment, what would you say? Jennifer said, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know, because she's been married before and divorced. And Jennifer says she needs a man. Yeah. She needs stability for herself and her daughter. And Tim doesn't seem like the person who can provide that at this time. Yeah. So Tim pleads with her. He tells her that he loves her very much, and he's gone in the last few days he has in Colombia. He's going to do everything he can to show her how much he loves her and that he wants a relationship with her. And he's going to do everything to make her have faith in him and trust him. So Tim decides to take Jennifer out shopping, which was, yeah, which woman doesn't like to do some retail therapy? And Jennifer was very happy about that. She ended up buying some stuff with, valuing 151, I'm assuming US dollars, because 151 US dollars anyways doesn't sound like a lot of money. But she was happy with that little shopping trip. Next, Tim and her met up, and he's taking her to this restaurant, and he tells her that he wants her to speak to his ex Veronica, because Veronica is very important in his life. He still takes care of her daughter, and he raises her, or takes part in raising her as his own child. And she's 12 years old, and he's always been in her life. So it's important for him that Jennifer and Veronica get along. And so, yeah, Veronica and Jennifer met by FaceTime with Tim there, and the daughter was also there. And the conversation, for the most part was okay. There was a bit of awkward moments and, yeah, tense moments. But for the most part, the conversation went okay. There wasn't like a big World War III, as Tim made it seem it would be. And yeah, Jennifer basically asked Veronica, what's her deal? Is she still in love with Tim? Because she spends all this time with him, and they're always together, and Tim is always messaging her. And Veronica tells her that she's no threat to the relationship. Yeah, she wants the best for him. And in fact, Jennifer should thank her for beating the stupid out of him, because he's a better person now than he was before. So can you imagine what Tim was like before Jennifer beat the stupid out of him, as she said? So yeah, and she also asked how the trip's been going. Have they been intimate together? How is it going? How's the chemistry? And Tim tells her that no, that's not appropriate. And Jennifer was like telling us she didn't think that was okay for her to ask that question. It's none of her damn business. And she tells Veronica that, Tim has been very respectful. So that's her term for it. Tim has been very respectful. Because I think Jennifer is putting on as well. She's up in she's holding on to Tim's arm, to claim him right there in front of Veronica to let her know that I'm the new girl, yeah? And things are going fine here as far as you're concerned. It's none of your business. Everything is perfect. So, anyways, next couple is Rebecca and Zayed. Another filler moment. So Zayed is taking Rebecca on this trip. Yeah, he's her last couple of days. He's taking her out and on this road trip to somewhere special. And Rebecca is doing the driving, and I'm pretty sure Rebecca is the one that also paid for this trip. Yeah, for every detail of this trip, because they ended up going to this resort after, or I call it a resort. And on the way, Rebecca is telling us that she has she's not upset anymore about the $200 and the fact that Zayed could be using her. She trusts him. Yeah. She's had a lot of time to think about the whole thing, and now she trusts him. I think what she meant was the night before we had a lot of time, and Zayed convinced me to forget about the whole thing. So anyways, they came up on this resort, and beautiful tent resort in the Sahara Desert. And Zayed tells us that he's going to be proposing to Rebecca there. And that's one of the reasons why he took her there. It's a beautiful place, and he's trying to, woo her because she wants her to accept him after, the fact that she's questioning whether she can trust him or not. He wants to show her that she can trust him, and that, he's the right man for her. And so he shows us the ring. Yeah, nice ring. It wasn't the ring that we saw initially. Apparently got a nice new ring, and he hid it somewhere in the tent. Rebecca, in the meantime, who said she was going to get some tea, is telling us that she wants during this trip to let Zayed know, or to tell Zayed that she's actually still married, and that she only started filing for a divorce before she left the US. So she's technically still married to her ex. And yeah, she doesn't know how he's going to react to this. Later on, these two start fighting because apparently Rebecca was trying to show Zayed was showing Zayed some pictures of her grandkids, and along the way between those pictures, she had a picture of her and her ex-husband, or her and her current husband. And Zayed saw this picture and was not too happy at all. She said he started behaving the most way. He exploded, and he was behaving very possessive and very jealous. And she wasn't liking this at all because it reminded her exactly of how her ex used to behave. And, that was one of the reasons that the relationship fell apart, according to her. So, she didn't like seeing Zayed behave this way. And, by now we know we're up on this gig. Yeah, we know that Rebecca obviously loves possessive, controlling, jealous men because it maybe fuels her self-esteem, or her, makes her feel wanted. But we know that this is exactly the type of men that Rebecca likes, because there's no way you had that experience before and you find the same guy to date. So all she's saying, yeah, this is obvious that this is the kind of guy she likes to date. So she's ignoring that anyway. She says that, her only concern now is that she's afraid to tell him about the fact that they're still married, because if he's angry about seeing the guy's picture, then imagine when he finds out that they're actually still married. She doesn't know how he's going to react. So next couple is Benjamin and Aki-Nee. So Benjamin is basically carrying Aki-Nee to his rental apartment because Aki-Nee is drunk out of her mind. She doesn't know her head different from her foot, and she's complaining that she's feeling sick. Sorry, guys. She's complaining that she's feeling very sick. So Benjamin takes her to his bedroom and puts her to bed, and he went in the living room to sleep. And then the next morning he made her a cup of tea, and we saw him in her room, and he was asking her if she remembered what happened. And Aki-Nee's telling him that no, the only thing she remembered was having that drink, and then the next thing was not having the food. She doesn't remember anything else. And I'm like, really, Aki-Nee, you don't remember anything else that happened between? You only remember the drink and leaving your food, nothing else. So she's like, are you mad? And Benjamin said, not really. I'm just disappointed because, I don't know this person. This is not the person I thought I thought you behaved completely out of character, and I didn't like it. I don't want to see that person again. So Aki-Nee's asking him what happened. What did she do? Was it that bad? And he said, you were being very loud. You were demanding a drink and behaving the most way. And Aki-Nee was like, okay, was I, she didn't even apologize. And Benjamin basically said to her that, being that this is what happened, maybe we should just avoid alcohol, and we don't need this in our life as a couple. Maybe this is something we just should put to the side and forget about. And then Aki-Nee got really defensive. She's looking at him because suddenly Aki-Nee has this great attachment to drinking, when she can't even handle one glass of drink without being a total fool, and getting sick, or feeling drunk, and being sick from drinking the later in the evening. Why would you be so defensive about drinking when you obviously cannot manage it? But that's Aki-Nee. She's like, so you're saying I can't drink anything, I can't drink anymore, or I shouldn't drink anymore? And Benjamin was like, no, it's just that, maybe not so much. She's like, she asked if she can't drink on special occasion, or maybe at sometimes have a drink. And he said, well, because he's thinking, like, based on what happened, really, do you want to have another drink? And Aki-Nee, he's like, no, I'm not saying that. It's just that, the Aki-Nee I saw last night, I really don't want, I didn't like that Aki-Nee, and I really don't want to see you that way again. It really hurts me. And Aki-Nee was like, okay, well, she's telling her she's 26 years old. Yeah, Benjamin is being too controlling and too strict as far as she's concerned. She's 26 years old, and even though she acts like a child and speaks like a child, yeah, she can do what she wants. If she wants to have another drink, she can have another drink, yeah? And so she didn't appreciate Benjamin telling her that she should consider not drinking. The guy didn't say you couldn't drink. He's just telling you that, obviously you can't manage it. So maybe that's really not something you need to do. And I agree. But Aki-Nee thinks otherwise. So, Benjamin for now just says, as long as you can learn from that mistake and, do better. Yeah. Because that's what experiences are for. He still loves her, and he still wants to propose to her. Yeah. He still wants to be with her. And he just wants to be sure that she's going to be a bit more mature, because she's coming into his life, possibly, and his son's life, and he wants to know that she's going to be a more mature person. So later on, Benjamin, Aki-Nee, in her typical fashion, is letting Benjamin know at the last minute that this exchange of the bridal price means that he's going to be married to her. I didn't know this either. I thought that's okay. Exchange of the bridal price means that, they're promised to this person, and a wedding is expected, but she's telling him that they're gonna be man and wife after this, and not just a proposed, or not just an engaged couple. And Benjamin was quite shocked about this, yeah, because he did not expect this at all. He literally went pale, yeah, paler than usual. He literally went pale. He didn't know what to say. He's telling us that he came to Kenya with the intention of proposing to Aki-Nee, all being well. Yeah, he didn't know that he was going to be leaving a married man, because that's too sudden. That's too soon. I'm going to be stuck with this woman. I don't even know what I'm getting myself in. It's like, hold up. I love this woman. I said I love her. I like her a lot, but I'm still getting to know her. I don't want to be stuck with this mess if there's anything wrong with her. But anyways, Benjamin has a lot to think about, and what he does is he calls his best friend in the States to, let her know what's happening, because he needs to talk to somebody else. He's a lonely wolf, all the way there in Kenya, and nobody else to talk to except Aki-Nee. And, obviously you can't have a conversation with Aki-Nee, because it's like talking to a teenage, I want to say a teenage, because there's some mature teenage girls, but it's like talking to a little girl. So he calls his friend, and he's telling, she's asking, how are things going? How's your trip? And he's like, it's going good. She's exactly what I expected and more, and I love this woman, or, I want to be with her. And, the friend is like, okay, that's great. So what's the deal? What's the deal now? He's like, well, I found out that when I exchanged this bridal price with her dad, or this bridal gift with her dad, we're basically going to be a married couple. And the friend is like, oh, whoa, hold up. Yeah. So you're going to be a married man. You're going to be married to her. And he's like, yes, that's the deal, not engaged, married. And she's like, so didn't Aki-Nee tell you this before you went there? He's like, no, yeah. We all know Aki-Nee don't tell Benjamin anything until the very last minute. So she's like, wow, this changes the whole thing, yeah. You have a lot to think about here. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what to do. She's like, unfortunately, honey, this is a really tough decision, but I'm not going to tell you what to do either. I mean, she didn't exactly say that, but she's like, this is a really hard decision. It's really something you have to think a lot about, because Aki-Nee has not yet been to the US. You don't know what it will be like for her, how she will accept living in the state, because it's a different culture. And she hasn't met your son as yet. And I know he's very important to you. So you have a lot to think about, and I really feel for you. Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. You're on your own with that, darling. So Benjamin is crying. He's like, I don't know what to do. I want to be with her, yeah, but this is just too sudden, yeah. And it is too sudden. So the friend suggested that maybe he could ask the family for some more time. So we will see how that goes, because already asking for too much time is going to be calling a lot of questions to, these guys are going to be like, he's asking for time. What does that mean? So I feel bad for Benjamin, and I wish him all the best for the next episode. Anyways, the next couple is Avery and Omar. So the couple are still celebrating their newlywed, time together. And apparently Avery has a few days left in Lebanon, and she says it feels so short. Time is flying so quickly, and she's going to miss her husband, and it's just going too fast. And she constantly talks about missing him, and how hard it is and how short the time is. But anyway, she's letting us know that she loves the idea of she loves being in a Muslim country. And when she's spending the time with Omar, with him by her side, she feels like she belongs there. All the women are dressed just like she is, fully covered, and she doesn't stand out or look out of place like she does back in Columbus, Ohio. And so Avery, is telling us that yes, this is where she wants to be. And she and Omar are on the beach. She keeps telling Omar how much she's going to miss him. She asks him, if he thinks that they'll survive the next 7 months apart while she, is back in the US. And Omar tells her that, we just have to be positive. We have to be positive and expect the best. And Avery's like, okay, are you gonna miss me? And he's like, of course. She's like, but you're not behaving, I guess, you're not behaving like I'm behaving. And he's like, I'm a man, I'm Tarzan. Hear me roar. And she's like, what does that mean? You can't show emotion? He's like, no, in my culture, men are, and he's telling us in his culture, men are not as emotional or behaving as emotional as women are. They're not expected to be that emotional and to be crying and, the whole thing. And we understand that, don't we? I surely understand that. It's not just in his culture, it's in a lot of places in the world. Men are just they're not built to be as emotional as women. Yeah, typically. There are exceptions, but most times, men don't react to the things that we react to the same way. And we are more emotional creatures. And, that's the beauty about being a female. And men are more the thinkers and the planners. And, they have to keep, they have to project this image of strength and self-control. And he says, he's a man in his culture. He has to, display more self-control. But this is not good enough for Avery. They went to a restaurant after, and Avery, keeps talking about the fact every minute, the time is getting really close. And she's going to miss him, and she's not looking forward to being apart from him. And she's around the table telling him all this, and Omar is just letting her vent, being quite calm, cool, and collected. And Avery isn't liking this, so Avery mentions to him that when she gets to the US, first thing she's going to start applying for his visa. And at this point, Omar picks up. He's like, okay, he's now engaged. He's like, okay, because now she's talking about something that he can, it's talking about something, planning, something that he, he's interested in. he's not interested in whining and crying about the fact that she's leaving for the next she's leaving, you know, in the next couple of days. That's her thing. So Omar is like, okay, and what do you think about the whole process? How long is it gonna take? So Avery wasn't too happy about this. Yeah, she's like, the whole time I'm talking about how much I'm gonna miss him, and you know, the fact that we have this short time together, and I'm expressing all this to him, and he's, you know, he's not, he has nothing to say. And suddenly I mentioned the visa, and he's all engaged. He's like asking questions. What do you expect, girl? So she starts getting upset, and she gets defensive, and she's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what the process is like. You know, I don't know what's gonna be like until I get there. So she's like, you seem to be more interested in the visa process and coming to the US than you are, you know, than you are about showing whether you miss me, you're going to miss me, or, you know, or anything like that. And Omar is like, well, is it that you don't trust me? And she's like, well, you know, there's always a 1%. Oh, he's like, is it that you don't trust me? Is it that you think I'm using you? And she's like, well, there's always that 1% chance, you know, sounding like her mom there. And Omar is like, okay, then. He was very offended by that and hurt. And he was like, you know what? Well, if that's the case, do not apply for my visa. I'm not interested. Don't apply for my visa. I don't want you to do it. And she's like, why not? Which was a good play on Omar's side, you know, because Avery felt for it, like, okay. Omar is like, listen, since this is how you feel, I don't need this visa. I like living in my country. I like living here. I have no problem. I don't need your damn US visa. And Avery's like, you know, falling for that. She's like, how comes? Why not? And he's like, well, if this is how you feel, and this is probably how others would feel, others think as well, that, you know, I'm only trying to use you, and I'm not that kind of person. If that's how you feel and others feel, I don't want it. Yeah, I know who I am. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not I'm, you know, I'm not interested in using you. I love you, and, you know, whatever. And I do believe that Omar loves Avery, you know, in his own way. And he's excited about her as his new bride, and I think he's attracted to her, and he finds her, you know, I think he's happy with Avery for now. You know, I mean, yes, she's a challenge sometimes, and he did tell us that, you know, listen, she talks too much and she needs to learn to shut up when they're arguing and listen to what he has to say. But you know, he's happy. I think he's happy being a husband. He's happy being with Avery right now. And so I don't think he's just totally interested in getting a visa like some other people. Yes, that's a benefit, and yeah, a benefit of marrying an American woman. And he would love to have his green card, or whatever it is, and you know, be able to live in the US, and maybe take his family over at some point. I don't know the deal, but I think for the most part, Omar really is into Avery, you know, so it's not just, okay, I'm just dealing with this girl. I can't stand her, but I'm just dealing with her so I could get her visa. It's not like what's that guy's name? Oh gosh. That was with the older American woman, the disgusting one who was like, I need my sex now. Yeah, I don't think it's a situation like that. You know, they're both the same age. Avery's an attractive woman, and Omar, you know, Omar is happy with his bride. But yeah, you know, at this point Avery's like, okay. She's like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah, as soon as I get over, I'm gonna apply for your visa. So Omar didn't have anything else to say about that, because at the end of the day, you know, she does it, it's fine, you know. And that's the deal. He knows she was gonna say she was gonna say she was gonna do it anyway. What is she gonna do? Just end that relationship and say, okay, yeah, or what, just stay there with him and not go back to the US? No, she already know what she was going to be doing. Yeah, and Omar just gave her the kind of fuel she needed. So you know, they're around the table, and she starts complaining again. Yeah, Omar, you know, she's like, you're just sitting there. Yeah, you're just existing, just sitting there. Yeah, not crying or behaving the way I'm behaving. And Omar is looking at her like, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to start crying so that you can trust me? And she's like, no, not really, but you know, it's just, I don't feel that you are, you know, you're going to be missing me as much as I'm missing you. And you know, you're not you know, I want you to tell me how you feel. And Avery, you should know by now. I mean, I know you're still young, but you should know by now that men don't talk about how they feel, really. That's not something that men do. Yeah. they're not typically sitting around talking about their feelings and how they feel and that they're going to miss you and how much, it's going to hurt and what, yeah. They don't do that kind of thing. I mean, when you're apart, he will tell you these things, and he has said he's going to miss you. Man tells you he loves you. Yeah, he's happy with you. He's not going to be every minute going over how much he misses you. That's just not something men do. They find it a waste of time. Yeah. As far as they're concerned, if they've said one thing, they've said it enough. That's enough. They don't need to be telling you, every minute. Yeah. Like you would be doing it every minute. And even as a female, I think you were just too much. Yeah. So Omar is like, what do you want me to do? She's like, just express to me, tell me how you feel. And he's like, unfortunately, that's not something he's gonna do. That's not something he does. She starts crying, and he went over to the other side to sit beside her and hug her and kiss her, to comfort her. And she's like, I just love you so much, and I'm sad that I'm leaving. And yeah, that's it for them. The next couple is oh boy, who's the next couple? I've covered, oh Lord. Oh yeah, I have two more people. Or let's quickly do Caesar. Yeah, Caesar is on my damn nerve, guys. Yeah. So I mean, I thought that Caesar's storyline is finished just when we were thinking, okay, he's going back to the US. Maybe another season they'll take him on to continue his nonsense. But we're still talking about Caesar. We're still seeing Caesar. Well, at least I'm talking about Caesar. Yeah, and maybe I should stop doing it. But he's still a part of the damn show. So Caesar is back in the US, yeah. His one of his friends is picking him up. I guess it's supposed to be his best girlfriend. He's picking him up from the airport, and of course he's faced with having to let everybody know how Mexico went and what an idiot he was. Like everybody knew, yeah. And now he's gonna have to tell them what everybody already knew was gonna happen. Because apparently this has happened before. And Caesar is letting his friend know that he's planning his trip to as soon as he settles in, he's gonna be planning a trip to the Ukraine. So, and the friend is just as just as shocked as shocked is the word, and just kind of like in disbelief as we are. It's like, okay, I mean, we're not shocked anymore, but we're just kind of like, get it over with. So that's it for Caesar. Next couple is Darcy Anton. So we're at this hotel that Darcy, Tom, and apparently Stacy and her fiance has been staying at. And they're in the lobby area because Darcy packed all her bags. She's letting us know that she hasn't spoken to Tom since the night before, since they left the club. They share a room together, but he hasn't spoken to her the whole morning, and he's been ignoring her basically because he's still upset. And so Darcy's downstairs in the lobby with her sister and her luggage. Her sister's coming to bid her farewell, and these guys are like dressed exactly the same way. Makeup, hair is exactly the same way. They have on the same cap. Everything is the same. You have to be looking. There's like one slight difference on Darcy's leather jacket or fall leather jacket. Yeah, with some ribs where you had to be looking for that. Say, okay, oh, this is Darcy talking. Yeah, because these guys were certainly twinning it. They were like, they were like the exact copy of each other. Yeah, I've never seen them look so much alike before. So I don't know what that whole thing is about. This last day, the both of them wearing the exact same thing. It's like, okay, we're twins, we're grown-ass women, and we're twins, we're in the exact same thing. Okay, that's fine. So, the sister is wishing her a good trip because apparently Darcy's going back to the UK with Tom to meet his family. And the sister is like, yeah, I wish for you a good trip. And, Darcy's still a bit upset with her sister. She's letting her sister know that, this trip wasn't so good for her. Yeah. She should have gone to the Canary Islands. And the sister, and she's like, she doesn't think Tom enjoyed the trip either. And the sister's like, I think Tom had a good time with us at least. We were very welcoming. We were good hosts. He had fun with us, and we tried to show him a good time. I think you're the problem. So Darcy, the sister's like, it's not our fault. You're the problem. You're the one with issues, and you're the one who's chasing Tom off. So it's not us. So of course, Darcy wasn't too happy to hear this, the truth. She wasn't too happy to hear this, and the both of them kind of It's like started getting attitude with each other again and doing the whole sniping at each other that they do. It's like, okay then, well, bye, have a good trip. And it's like, whatever. Darcy heads outside, or Stacy heads outside, and we see her going to Tom. Tom was actually outside the whole time with his luggage, and he's standing outside with Florian smoking, and they're talking. And Stacy goes over to him to wish him farewell, and she's like, "Bye, Tom. You know, it was good to see you. You know, you're a cool guy." And yeah, you know, I was trying to tell my sister bye, but she's having an attitude right now, so you know, I don't know what her problem is. So Darcy comes out and she's, you know, there with her stuff. And the sister's like, okay, have a good trip. Is like, okay, whatever. And Darcy, you know, Darcy's like, you know, this trip wasn't so great anyways. And at this point, Tom was like, but you know, that's your fault, you know, that's all on you because of how you were behaving. So she can never get Tom to be on her side. Never. So yeah, you know, they went into the taxi, and next thing we see, they're in London. They've landed in London. Darcy's telling us that the whole trip Tom did not speak to her. So you're telling me they sat together next to each other and it was so bad that Tom did not say anything to her. She said Tom was upset the whole flight still, didn't say a word to her. So now they're going in this rental taxi. You know, apparently Tom made a rental, and they're driving to wherever they're supposed to be going. And Darcy starts apologizing for her behavior. You know, she starts apologizing to Tom, and Tom, you know, starts coming around, and you know, he stretches his hand out to Darcy, you know, to let her know that he forgives her. You know, as long as, yeah, she just learns to control herself. She has to learn how to control herself around her sisters, because her sister and other people, because the same way she behaves there is the same way she's going to behave around other people. And she's about to meet his family, and he will not stand for the foolishness. Yeah. So Darcy says, you know, she knows, and she's gonna work on it. You know, she apologized again, and she, you know, she said that she's definitely going to be on her best behavior to meet his family. And then, you know, she said, so are we going to be heading straight to their home? And he lets her know that no, we're going to be staying at an Airbnb that's next to my sister, because and then I know we've all heard some story about the fact that Tom doesn't even have, he makes it sound as if he has this wealthy family, whether it's past dukes or earls or whatever it is, that you know, has this, owns some part of Nottingham Palace, or Nottingham, some place in Nottingham, and apparently supposed to be coming from this wealthy traditional background, rich background. And we've been hearing that that's all made up, and he's like faking everything. So I don't even know about that. But he tells Darcy that they're going to be staying at an Airbnb, and I'm thinking, okay, so you're going to introduce her to your family, and there's nowhere at all. Do you not have a place for yourself? Yeah. Who are you staying with? Where do you, you know? So, anyways, so to start explaining that away, because I'm sure he knows that doesn't make any sense. So anyways, he tells Darcy that, you know, I didn't like the way you behaved in Albania. Yeah, you were a complete mess. And so we're going to stay at an Airbnb, because apparently he expects that she's going to be behaving a complete fool if she stays around his family. So he needs to keep her separate from everybody, so that she can get herself. And granted, Darcy was looking a mess coming from the airport in the car. You know, he was like, you know, I'm just giving you a chance to settle in, get yourself together. Yeah, fix yourself, get your crap together, and prepare yourself to meet my family. And you know, Darcy didn't see anything wrong with that, as usual. Just like she didn't see anything wrong with him telling her that he's not meeting her at the airport. She needs to go brush her teeth and everything before. She starts explaining away what he said, which she normally does. You know, she agrees with him. She's like, "You're right, yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to be able to prepare myself, and yeah, because." And then she does this. She does this kind of recall of what happened before when she met Jesse's family. And the camera pans to that previous season when that season when Jesse took her to meet his family, and the father was basically, you know, saying how his son is like a god, a beautiful god, and Darcy is not worthy. She's not on the same level. He basically told Darcy to her face that you are not on the same level as my son. You're not good enough for him. And even Jesse was sitting there like, whoa, hold up, that, like And the mom was sitting there agreeing, like, and I was like, I even forgot about that. And then, you start thinking about, this is why Darcy is kind of crazy the way she is. She has been through so much, as she literally said the last episode, she's been shit on the whole time by different people. And, this is one of the things she's had to deal with. And I don't know why Darcy has so many bad, terrible experiences. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we already dissected that before and said it has to do with her because she doesn't have any self-worth herself. I don't know why. But the fact is, Darcy has been through a lot. And, even though I'm a stronger personality, and I believe you are a stronger personality, and some of us can deal with certain things, can go through some things and come out stronger, or just brush it off like water, like, okay, it's not that big of a deal because you're a strong person and you know yourself. That's some real self-esteem blow, as a real thing to deal with. And Darcy has been through all of it. And she's already not the strongest person. So imagine how hard it is for her to deal with these things. So, it starts making sense why Darcy is like so crazy in a lot of instances. Sometimes we don't understand it at all. But then, when you saw that clip, it's like, oh yeah, that did happen, She dated a guy who not only thought he was better than her, but his people and his parents were confirming to her that, you're basically crap and you're not good enough for her son. So yeah, so she said she doesn't want a repeat of what happened when she met Jesse's parents. So Tom is right. She just need to get herself together. So yeah, they spent the night together. The next day, Tom takes her out to walk his dogs, and he tells her that he's glad that he actually went to Albania with her. And I was like, it must be the air in London, or it must be the air, because Tom was like a totally different guy. All of a sudden, he's like, I'm happy. Before he was saying, I'm not happy I came here. I'm sorry I came here. We should have gone on my trip because this is a mess and I'm not enjoying myself. And now he's saying he's actually happy he got to go with Darcy on this trip because he got to see different sides of her, and he's not going anywhere. He's going to be staying. And it was like, wow. I'm like, okay, this is new Tom. Does Tom have a twin that we don't know about? Yeah. Or has he been cloned since the night before? So Tom is saying that he's not going anywhere. He's saying he still wants to be with Darcy. And now she's about to meet his family, and he's telling us that normally when he takes women to meet his family, this is basically his way of ending the relationship, because it's normally his sister is a hard woman, or well, he says she's a what's the term? Not a hard woman, but his sister is the type who tells it as she sees it. Yeah, she spares no bones. And normally when he takes women to see his sister, he knows that she's not gonna approve of them anyways. And anyways, that's at that point he's ready to end the relationship, or he's over this relationship. And meeting with the sister is just a way of confirming it. Yeah, because normally he can say that my family doesn't really like you, and my sister's approval is very important, and it can't work if my family doesn't like you, and it's just not gonna work. So now he's taking Darcy to meet his sister. And he's trying to convince us that it's otherwise. But anyways, so we see Darcy and Tom in this restaurant. Darcy is dressed to the gods. She's in her full white, yeah, like an angel, a pure angel, full white with her white jacket on the chair, and makeup perfectly done, yeah, eyelash on fleek, baby hair is laid, yeah. Darcy was she was really cleaned up, yeah. So was Tom. And so the sister came in with her guy that she normally, apparently they're together, they're a couple, or they're in some kind of relationship. But he always, I always think that he was just her gay best friend. But the brother says they're in a relationship together. So Tom says they're in a relationship together. So that's what it is. So she comes in, she gets introduced to Darcy, and she's like, wow, it must be a special occasion because, you're actually dressed up nicely. The brother is actually looking good. And, after she tells us that, Darcy's exactly who she thought she was going to meet. the typical kind of woman that her brother dates, yeah, with the fake lashes, the fake colored hair, the big boobs, looking well, makeup, face fully made up, and the guy chipped in and said yes, and it's not even very subtle either. It's like in your face. And yeah, so Darcy is that typical kind of woman that Tom dates. So no surprise there. So just got to talking, and the sister asked Tom, are you in love with her? Are you falling for her? And Tom says yes, yeah. And the sister asked him how was the trip in Albania, and he said, it was good, yeah, it was good. And he's starting to fall for Darcy. She asked Darcy how the trip was, and Darcy was like, well, it was overall good. We had a bit of hiccup here and there, but we're still learning, getting to know each other. And so, yeah. And I was just like sitting there like, who are these people? Who is this Tom? Because Tom was like pretending to be this in love guy, in this good, perfect relationship. And I'm like, this guy is a real snake. He's a real snake. I'm still waiting to see what his motives are. What is up with Tom? And Darcy was sucking it all up. She was so happy to hear him say that he was falling in love with her. Yeah. And that he wants to pursue this relationship, and this is it. She excused herself to go to the bathroom, and the sister was like, okay, so what's the deal now? Because apparently the sister is telling us that Tom has been a playboy all this time, and he's basically ain't shit. And he's used to just being with women until it runs out, and which is normally pretty quick, and he gets bored easily and he moves on to the next one. And so she's like asking him, so what's the deal? Yeah. What's the deal now that Darcy's gone to the bathroom? Yeah. She's a nice woman. She seems like a lovely woman. Yeah. Do you really want to be with her? And he's like, yeah, and this is like, okay, so what's the deal now? What's different now? And he says, I've actually listened to what you said this time, where you told me that, I need to stop this whole revolving wheel, and that I need to settle down and find somebody who actually loves me. Keyword, somebody who loves me and accepts me for me, not somebody that I also love. Which is, that's what is important for Tom. It's not about who he loves, it's about who loves him and will accept his mess. Yeah. And the fact that now he's beyond his peak years, and he's been faking every photo, and he's probably getting tired of that, because like, how much more can you fake? Yeah. To meet the kind of woman you want to meet. And Darcy's just that sucker, and she is in love with him. So he better settle down with this woman, because this woman is crazy enough to love him like crazy. And so the sister said, wow, that's good to hear. Yeah, and you won't be like exchanging her anytime soon. And he's like, he's gonna give this thing a shot, because he wants what his sister have. He wants the kind of relationship that his sister has with this guy. And she's like, okay, well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed here. Darcy comes back, and Tom, she's like, so what have you guys been saying? The sister's like, we've just been talking mess about you. And she's like, yeah, I could hear my ears ringing in the bathroom. So the sister is telling her what they were talking about, and Tom just says, says that, yeah, he's taking her opinion, he's taking her advice, and he wants to pursue something with Darcy and see where it goes, and he wants to have a relationship. And I think the sister asked him, so what's your official title now? Are you guys, what's the situation? He's like, well, we're in a partnership, we're in a relationship, and I guess they're a couple. And the sister, he says, I'm taking your advice, I'm finding somebody who I can spend my time with, and who loves me, and I'm not going to be worrying about what could go wrong, and whether or not I could be hurt. I'm not going to be worrying about the person hurting me and everything. And then Darcy looked up at Tom, and she was like, Tom, I would never hurt you. I love you. I would never hurt you. And she holds his hand, and I was like, oh, poor Darcy. She was like such a puppy. Darcy's like such a puppy who's always seeking approval. It's like, I will love you. Yeah. I will be as faithful and dedicated as a dog is to its owner. I love you no matter what, even if you beat me and you don't feed me and you kick me out of the house. I love you anyways. Yeah. So that was the vibe I was getting. And the sister was like, you better not, because if you hurt my brother, then in fact, I will not allow it. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. And I was like, okay, big sister, big bad bully. It's like, okay, I'm the overprotective bigger sister. What are you gonna do if that Darcy actually was the kind of woman that was gonna hurt Tom? There's nothing you could have done. Yeah. Or you could do. But anyways, that was it for Tom and at the end they were interviewed together and Darcy was looking at Tom and it's like, I love you. And Tom looks at her, kind of smile, turns to the camera, looks at us with this kind of smile on his face, like, yeah, I have this all in the bag. Yeah, this bitch is all over me. She loves me, and that's it. That's all the reaction you get from Tom. I love you so much. I really love you. And that's Tom. Tom is yet to return that. What's so hard about, he looks her dead in the eye and he doesn't even say, I love you too. If he really does love her, like he says, I mean, I'm not saying that, a man has to, every minute is, a woman is like, I love you, he's going to be like, I love you back. But he has yet to say, tell Darcy, I love you. He says, I'm falling in love with her. He tells his sister that, I'm falling for her. I think I'm in love. But he's never actually looked at Darcy and said, I love you back. Yeah. And, well, maybe he's just not in love yet. Maybe he doesn't feel it yet. And, it's just so creepy to look at. Yeah. And that's one of the things Darcy's talking about. He never tells her he loves her. And we never see Tom telling Darcy anything nice, like, you look beautiful, or, you smell so good, or caressing her. The only time he was so sweet to Darcy was when he was sitting down beside her in that restaurant before his sister and her boyfriend, husband, whatever. Yeah. And Darcy was like all up around his arm. And this time he didn't push her off to say, I need some space. He was there and he rubbed her arms a couple times and, looked at her. And that was the sweetest we've seen Tom being to Darcy. We don't hear him telling her all the things that a man tells a woman that he loves, or, that he really cares about. Anyways, next couple is Angela and Michael. And this was my favorite couple for this episode. Angela was giving me life, guys. Yeah. She's about to wake me up to finish this part of the video. Angela was giving me life. She reminded me of a war boat. In Jamaica, we call them a war boat. You have those people who are quick to get in a fight and they, argue and everything. And, I'm not praising, people who are confrontational and love to war, but, it was just very entertaining to watch. And I think in this particular episode, Angela had some right, Angela had some right, because I think, let's get into it. So, first thing, Angela and Michael coming out of that fertility clinic, they're back home, or they're back at their hotel. And Angela decides to call up her daughter because, she did say she's going to ask her one more time, maybe 20 more times, but she's going to ask her one more time because, she only has one good egg or she only has one egg and it ain't a good egg. So she calls up her daughter. Oh gosh, I forgot her name. I'll have to look it up. She calls up her daughter. Her daughter comes up on Skype. Yeah. And her grandsons were there with her. It was sweet for a moment. They were there. So, Angela is like, hey, and she's like, hey, Mom, what's happening? How are things going? And Mom's like, we've had a bit of, issues here and there, but it's been a good trip overall. We went to the fertility clinic, to check if I could still have babies and, how everything was. And, well, the doctors found one egg. Yeah, she found one egg, but, there's a big chance that we can't use that egg. It's not going to be viable to have a baby. And so, but what the doctor did say, good news was that, I have a beautiful uterus. Didn't she, Michael? Michael is sitting right next to her. Says like, yeah. So it means I can actually tote a baby. I can carry a baby. So the daughter is like, oh, okay. So she's like, yeah. So, yeah. So, there's something that Michael wants to ask you. So she puts the mic over. He's like, okay, your turn, Michael. She looks over at Michael. And Michael is like, kind of like, oh, okay. what's the daughter's name again? Whatever her name is, yeah. There's a request I have to ask you, and I hope you can grant it to me. So, Angela's daughter is there now because she's like, really, she knows what's about to be happening. So the daughter is like, up in the camera. She's like, okay, Michael. Yeah, Michael, now what are you about to ask me? What's that request, Michael? What do you want? So Michael is like, we need your egg. Yeah, we're asking for an egg. So the daughter, oh gosh, I forgot her name. It would be so convenient now to be, but yeah, and it's so easy to remember. But yeah, the daughter is like, no, Michael, you cannot have my egg. No, that's not gonna happen. You can't have my egg, and you should not even be asking my mom anyways to be having a baby. Do you know how dangerous this is? Do you know how dangerous and how much complications could happen? Yeah. She's like, Mommy, what are you doing? Wanting a baby. The mom's like, well, we want a baby, and it has to be my bloodline, and that's why I'm asking you. And the daughter is like, babe, Mom, you don't need no baby. You don't need no baby, and Michael doesn't need any baby either. And that's where she's wrong. And the mom is like, well, we are gonna have a baby. We are gonna have a baby. And Michael's like, I actually do want to have a child. And she's like, well, it's not gonna be with my egg. And the mom, Angela, is like, what if I offered you, what if I paid you for your eggs? And she's like, it doesn't matter if you pay me $1,000,000. I am not giving you my egg, Mom. And then Angela is like, let's call her Becky, because I keep forgetting her name. Becky, that's where you're lying. Yeah, you're lying right there. You know damn well if I had $1,000,000. No, at first, Angela was like, what if I offered to pay you for the eggs? Like, Mom, I would not. I'm not selling my eggs. I'm not giving you any of my eggs, even if you paid me $1,000,000. And Angela was like, that's where you're telling a damn lie. Because if I had $1,000,000 to give you, you'd give me all of your eggs. So stop lying. So the daughter is like, yeah, it's like, I really wouldn't. I would not be giving you my eggs because it would feel like I'm giving away my child. And Angela is like, no, that's not what's happening. You're just giving me an egg. It's going to be my blood. And before she could even say, and my cells and everything, the daughter is like, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You can't have my eggs. It's not going to happen. So, at this point, Angela was like looking really disappointed, really sad, because this was like the last thing. And Michael was also like, is this really happening? Is there no way we can convince her? Is this really the end of it? Yeah. And he's letting us know that he doesn't know what's going to happen in the future. He does for the relationship, because he did tell Angela the very first thing he said to her is that, he wanted to have a child, and that's very important to him. And so we'll see where it goes from here. What's going to be their next step? Their next step. So next scene, Angela and Michael. Michael is taking Angela to this restaurant. Apparently, they've been there before. It looks familiar, based on previous video. And he's taking her to meet up with his friends. Yeah, his good friends. And Angela is just not in the mood. Angela is not interested. She's not willing. And she lets us know she's not happy about having to meet his friends because she don't like them. Yeah, she has issues with his friends, and she's not happy about being there. So, and she's letting Michael know this, like, listen, I don't want to be here. So Michael just asks you, just please meet with them for me, because, I've not been able to hang out with my friends for the longest while. I've only been hanging out with the women. Yeah. And I really miss my friends. I need some testosterone in my life. I'm like being one of the women now. I'm hanging out with my mom and my grandma and my aunt, or is it my mom and my aunt and my grandma? No men at all in my life. Yeah, I cannot even leave the house. I desperately need you to meet up with my friends because I need things to go well between you guys. I'm desperate. So Angela agrees to go. They're sitting at the table, and Michael asks Angela, what are you going to be saying to my friends? And Angela is like, you know what, I don't know. I don't know, Michael. Anything is liable to come out of my mouth. And we know Angela's mouth already. So we know she's going to be saying anything and everything that she feels like saying. Because that's what Michael signed up for. That's Angela for you. So Angela is, sitting there. And then the three men came in to they came in through the entrance, like the three, like bad men, like three bad boys, no, not bad men, bad boys, like, you know, walking through. The only thing they needed was like a puff of smoke and maybe like some burning, like some explosion behind them. They walked into the restaurant. Yeah, it was almost like slow motion. And then you had the familiar face, which was one of them, Kunle, and then there's this other guy that Angela had met before, and then there was this new guy that, you know, so they came to the seat, and, you know, it's like, hi. And Michael introduced the new guy to Angela, and Angela shook his hand. It's like, hi, so and so, nice to meet you. And then, you know, she's like, okay, you too now. And they didn't acknowledge Angela directly, and she sat there, you know, she didn't say anything to them directly either at first, because she's like, okay, I'm only being nice to the new guy because he wasn't involved and I don't know about him. Yeah, but you two I know, and I can't stand a bone in you two. So they sat there, and Kunle is like, okay, it's like, Michael, because at first when they came through the restaurant, yeah, in the restaurant, and Kunle was like looking at Michael like so surprised, like, oh, you're alive, yeah, like, it's good to see you. You maybe put on a few weight, yeah, your belly look a little big, but yeah, it's like, wow, Michael, I haven't seen you in years, kind of thing. So Kunle was like excited. He's like, Michael. He's like, so, and he looked at Angela. He's like, so you're back here. So Angela is like, yeah. And you know, what did he say in his exact word? He's like, you're back again. Angela is like, yes. But it could have meant as well. He had said, you damn woman. You come back here again. I'm tired of you. Yeah, he may have well have said that. So Angela was like, yeah, I'm here. And then he looked back at Michael. He's like, that's why I haven't seen you around, huh? That's why I haven't seen. It's almost like saying, that's why I'm gonna see you around. You basically tie up. Yeah, this woman, which Angela did have some. Angela did have some, what you call it, cuffs in that she brought with her. So I mean, it's not far from the shoes. Like, this woman basically have a tie up to the house. So, you know, and at this point, Angela had enough because he was being rude, and I would say he's being rude too, regardless of what is it that the impressions they have of Angela. Yeah, being the older woman dating Michael. Yeah, I just think that he was being very rude, and Angela was already ready to pick a bone with them because she's upset about the fact that they called her a grandmother, Michael's grandmother, and that not only that, what was it that they said? What is he doing with this older woman? Yeah, so Angela was upset about that, and there was something else that happened. Yeah, and then the last straw was when she was ill, and these guys basically they're encouraging to leave the house on a regular basis to go out partying, and Angela is just like, listen, man, these aren't good friends. Yeah, they're bad influence. And so when Kunle is in front of her and the other guy, and they're you know, giving attitude, and he's like, you're back again. He's like, that's why you're not around. You know, he didn't even greet the woman properly. And he's coming there with like, oh, okay, you again. So Angela was like not having it. And she started going out, you know. Okay, let's get to it. I'm just saying, you know, this was just the most interesting part for me, because watching Angela was just like watching some woman in Jamaica, you know, about to break down in a fight. Yeah, especially when she was like, so let's get into what happened. So Angela was like, listen up here, yeah? Because when this she's had enough of this guy. She's like, look here, listen here, yeah? I do not like you, and yeah, and you either. What was it that she said? She's like, look here, you're being really disrespectful, yeah? She like calls him out. She's like, listen, you're being very disrespectful, and I don't like you. I don't like you. The only thing left for her is I don't like a bone in you. I don't like you, and I don't like him either. And then the new guy is looking at her like, oh, well, hold on. Yeah, what's going on? And Angela is like quick to, because at this point when she said that, Michael is like, babe, and she's like, excuse me, Michael, I don't like you, and I don't like you either. And then the guy is like, oh, hey, what's happening here? And she's like, excuse me, sir, I've just met you. Yeah, I don't know you. And I'm sorry you have to see me behaving this way, but they know why I'm upset with them. He knows why I don't like him and him. So she's back to Kunle. She's like, you know, Kunle's like, what's the problem? Yeah, what's the matter now? Kind of like, what's your issue now? Yeah, what's wrong with you? You're always having some problem. You know, what's your problem now? Who tell him to go say that? Angela was like, listen, the other day I was in the hospital. I had pneumonia. Yeah. I was back home in the US and I was in the hospital admitted. Yeah. Basically on my deathbed. And I needed Michael's support. And you guys were there at the house, yeah? Or wherever it was they were at. You were looking, you saw me on the phone. I saw you. And you basically telling Michael that he needs to just not talk to me, ignore his phone, and you guys should go wherever you're going. And she's like, who does that? She's like, if you were a good friend or any good influence, you'd have said to him, Michael, you need to go back. You need to turn your ass back home and go be with your woman. Yeah. And at this point, Kune was like, because she said the ass and then she said the F word. So Kune is like, no. She's like, do you know? Yeah, my fiance would never talk to me like that. She's like, yeah, and I'm not your fiance. He's like, yes, that's right, exactly. Because Angela's like, I'm not your fiance. So he's like, in Africa, and Angela cut him off right there. She's like, but we're not in Africa. We're not going to be living in Africa, are we? So he's like, at this point, he's like, what else can he say? Because Angela is ready for him. Any word that's coming out of his mouth, Angela has a response ready, and she's ready for him. And she's giving him all the attitude that she can with her elderly self, yeah? And of course, the guy next to her, when she says, we're not going to be living in Africa, are we? He's like, looking at her offended, like she said the worst thing ever. But Angela is not planning on living in Africa. Michael is the one who wants to go to the US, and everybody, all his friends know that he wants to be going to the US because apparently that's, I think Michael did mention that that's something that the rest of them want, he's been wanting to go to live in America. There's no secret about that. And his friends probably want the same thing too. And Michael is about to make sure that he gets to the US. He's not going to let his friends spoil this for him. And of course, even Michael was looking at his friend, because when Angela was like, we're not going to be living in Africa, are we? He started, he had nothing else to say. He was just there, the only thing he could do was like, he started laughing, because that's the worst thing you could do. Laugh in her face because you have nothing else to say. You have no response. Get under her skin by laughing in her face. And he does this hearty laugh where kind of like, yeah, like I'm king of the castle there. So that was getting under Angela's nerve, because she's like, he's disrespectful. And then on top of that, he's laughing in my face. And she wasn't happy about that. And Michael, of course, was looking at him like, stop the laughing. She's like, stop laughing. Do you think this is a joke? He's like, ha, 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 once more. So Michael's like shaking his head. And Angela is like, oh, you think this is funny? Yeah? Yeah? Do you think this is funny? Do you think this is funny too? She took up her glass with the whatever drinks was left in there, full of ice, and poured it at Kunle. And this was like, okay. He stopped laughing for a minute there. It's like, did this just happen? But of course, he didn't do anything, he was just, and I'm like, well, Angela, she pulled her cards right because she knew not to throw it. Even though she threw the glass of whatever it was and ice at him, she didn't throw it in it. She didn't direct it in his face. It was more like here and in his lap, yeah. So she knew what she was doing, because she knew that it would be the utmost disrespect to be throwing ice cold water in the man's face, yeah. And there's no guarantee what would have happened after that. Yeah, even though you have the cameras there and everything, there's no guarantee what would happen after that. Throwing a glass of water in this man's face, because he's not Michael. So, at this point, he got up from around the table because, Angela is, they're like, Michael, do you see how she's behaving? And, Angela is like, do you see how they're behaving? Yeah. Are you going to stand here and let them behave like this and treat me this way? And Michael is like caught in the middle. He's like, but babe, it's like, no, Michael. Yeah, you need to check your friend. And the friend is like, Michael, and they realize that, listen, Michael is in that sunken place. Yeah. I'm just using that term. It's not really in the sunken, but Michael is on a mission, and they're not going to root it for him. And Michael is not going to be taking their side over Angela's side. Yeah. Even though he's kind of trying to tell her to calm down and like, babe, just listen a bit. And she's not having it. Michael is not going to make any more move other than that. So couldn't they get up from the table? And then the other guy is trying to, the new guy is like, trying to tell her that, this is not okay or blah, blah. And she's like, you can, whatever, bye. So he got up too. And then the only guy that stayed at the table was the other older friend, and he was like, Angela knew before. And he was like, they're trying to talk to Angela. I said, do you realize though that this is not right what you're doing? You know, you can't approach things this way. Because Kunle don't tell Angela, say, listen, you're a controlling, possessive woman. Yeah? And Angela's like, okay, and so what? How is that your business? Yeah? She had her hand in his face. How is that your business? Yeah? And that's what I was telling, you know, that's what I was saying. She reminded me about Jamaica, because you have some, I mean, when you're in Jamaica, and it's not just Jamaica, it's other places as well, but places where people will literally fight and that can be confrontational. And if somebody wants to get on your nerves, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not yet touching you, but it's like hands in your face. That's the worst thing. That pissed me off too. If you want to start a fight with me, put your hand up in my face, yeah? Do that. Do that. Do that, because I'm not just going to be sitting there and looking at you while I'm going to smack your hand nicely away. Anyways, so, you know, yeah, Kunle got up, and then, you know, the three guys were there talking to us, and, you know, with the camera guys, and they're saying that, you know, Kunle said, if this is how Angela is behaving here in Africa, in his country, imagine when he goes over to her country, how she's going to behave. And he's right about that, you know. Yeah, he's right about that. Something to think about, because Angela ain't playing. And when Michael goes over there, he better be on his P's and Q. Yeah, he better not play the whole Jay and Ashley from that season, whatever. 90 Day Fiance, I forgot what, that's before, no, that was after the 90 days or something, where Jay came from Jamaica and he was staying with Ashley, and he was basically meeting up with women and online making arrangement to meet up with women and sleeping around while he was there. You know, and even though, you know, that's another story for another time, but the fact is they're both wrong, because Ashley has some skeleton in her closet as well. And so, you know, Jay wasn't necessarily in a happy situation. He was not comfortable. But when Kunle said that, I was just thinking about, okay, yeah, this could be like a Jay and Ashley situation where Michael goes over to the US, and if he acts up and behaves a fool like Jay did, yeah, he will definitely find himself contending with Angela. And the difference is Angela probably not going to be calling the police on him. She may, but she's going to call the police after she beat his ass, yeah? And then she's going to be like, okay, at the end of the day, police is going to take Michael because he's the guy, the foreign guy. But yeah, so, you know, that was something to think about. But at the same time, he was disrespectful, yeah? And Michael just needs to know who he's dealing with. And Angela is letting him know that, listen, I'm not up for the foolishness, yeah? You need to know if we're going to continue this because you want to have a child, because we are not going to be going to the US and you're going to be sleeping with no other woman to have a baby. I'm not going to be agreeing with that one bit. Yeah, you have the wrong woman for that, as Angela said. I am not the one. Yeah, so Michael needs to know who he's dealing with, and he knows who he's dealing with. So I believe as long as he's faithful to Angela, yeah. And yes, Angela is a bit possessive, but you know, she probably has some real concerns about his friends. And I can understand that, because, you know, the friend really doesn't have any respect for Angela. He probably just sees her as this older woman overseas, you know, who's funding Michael and is going to give him what he wants. But yeah, him is an African man. He can do what he wants. He can sleep with who he wants to sleep with. He can do what he wants to do. And that's not okay. And they're not, that friend isn't not necessarily, seems like the kind who's not going to discourage it, you know, especially if he's talking to Angela. He's not going to be like, no, Michael, you're rich, you have a woman, you know, or so and so, don't do that kind of thing. So Angela is defensive because she doesn't like the fact that they're, you know, they're not in her corner as well. When she first met them, when she was in Nigeria the first time, she was around the table with a group of guys and Michael was there, and she was asking them, so tell me about Michael's ex-girlfriend, you know, tell me about the girls he's dated. And the friends were like looking at her, and, you know, I mean, stuff like that, because, you know, who asked that? Who asked, man or woman? Who asks, you know, your girlfriend or your boyfriend's friends who he's been dating about all his ex? Tell me about them. Like, why the hell is that important? So that was like one of the bad impressions that Angela made, and they're like, this woman is controlling, and this is not acceptable in Africa, because the men are in charge, yeah. But we all know that the women are actually the ones in charge, but the men believe that they are, yeah. and they can do what they want to do. And Angela is not going to allow it. So as long as Michael knows all of that, like, listen, he just has to be on his P's and Q's, I think he and Angela will be fine. But if he goes over there and takes any of this African or Kenyan or in his community that belief where, the men can do what they want, yeah, and that, the men have the last word, and that's okay. The men can do what they want, or they can go sleep with who they want to have a child because you can't have it. That ain't gonna work. So he needs to know what he's getting himself into and prepare himself. Because Angela is showing him right now that, listen, if you think you've seen me as yet, yeah, try that shit when you come over there and you see another thing. So yeah, so that was it for my long recap. I said I was gonna make it short. I only made it short for the first couple boring couples this episode, yeah, with the scripted scenes. But I had to really go in on it with Angela because Angela gives me life, yeah. When I was watching Angela's show, it's like, listen, I was ready to fight too, yeah. She put me in that fighting mode. I'm like, I'm just ready to fight, yeah. So yeah, guys, comment below. Yeah, I hope you like this recap, and let me know what you think. Yeah, thumbs up, press that thumbs up button, share my video, and subscribe, guys. Subscribe. I don't bite, yeah. As long as you don't do this in my face, yeah, we're good. Bye. Tschüss. End stream. I forgot I'm not on my tablet or phone. Yeah.